Does it work?
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I think we were having audio issues when we did our test run, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll be getting started shortly. I'm just going to go ahead and double check that our other reps have the link for the live webinar. Just give me a quick second. So I'm going to like Annette one more time. And then we just need to double check that Stephanie will be joining us. I'm going to send her the link one more time.
How does it appear when everyone's on? Is it like or just across the way? Everyone just.
Yeah, so kind of like that. So it'll be like 4 little boxes on the bottom.
Okay. And then the slideshows in it or the PowerPoint's going to be on the top?
Yes, it should be. So I just uploaded it. So I will. Let me just send this email to Stephanie really quick. You should be able to see it in a second.
Okay.
So that you can definitely reference it. Oops. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And then again, for whatever reason, if you need to step out, feel free to just turn off your camera.
Okay.
Or mute your microphone for whatever reason. But when you come back, make sure you turn it back on.
Got it.
Okay. So hopefully they'll be joining us soon.
Okay. I was a little worried. That's why I rushed.
You were worried it wasn't going to work?
Yeah, because of technical difficulties last time. So
I know. It happened to me twice afterwards.
Oh, nice.
I know. Even up today, I think an hour and a half before the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
But we got it figured out, so we're good to go.
Yeah, perfect timing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hopefully Steph and Annette will join us in a minute. Okay, we are going to be getting started shortly, just waiting on 2 of my speakers to join us. We do have one already here with us, and I see that we have someone on joining us. So we'll get started in a few minutes. Hi, Annette. Nice to see you again. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Perfect.
Good. I was on the wrong browser again.
Oh.
I was like, oh no. Click, click, click.
No worries. As long as you made it on time, you're all good.
I'm here.
Okay. So we've got you. We've got Jennifer. We just need Stephanie to join us.
Okay.
So we'll be getting started shortly.
I'm going to take off my camera and mute myself.
Okay, that's fine. No
Just to make
worries. And for those students that are logged on right now, I see you. Welcome. We will be getting started shortly, okay? And if my camera goes off, I do want you to remember that I'm still here with you, okay? Hello to everyone joining us. We are waiting on one more guest speaker, so bear with me. We're going to give her another minute or two. Hopefully she is able to join us, and then we will get started shortly, okay? And as I mentioned before, if my camera goes off, please don't worry. I'm still here with you. Okay, we are waiting on one more rep. I'm going to give her another minute. She just emailed me and she let me know that she's having some technical difficulties. So we're going to give her one more minute and then we're going to go ahead and get started, and maybe we can hear from her during her part of the webinar a little later today. Thank you all for joining us. We will get started shortly. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for everyone joining us today. For my reps that are with us, Jennifer and Annette, if you could please turn on your camera. Great. And go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see me and hear me.
Can you hear me?
We can definitely hear you, but we can't see.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. Hi, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're tuning into Futureology's Avoid Summer Melts College Transitions Tips webinar. My name is Jennifer Manzanares. I'm one of the college and career counselors with the Capistrano Unified School District's Futureology program. And I'm excited that you all are joining us. And this webinar tonight is designed for seniors. Therefore, I do anticipate the audience to be mostly seniors and maybe some of your parents. So we will include some tips for parents at the end. And before we begin, I did want to give a quick overview of our program for those of you that are not familiar with Futureology. So we are a free college and career counseling program that supports all Capo Unified School District students. We provide workshops, webinars such as this one-on-one appointments. So I do encourage you to check out our website for any upcoming events and further support. And before we dive into the webinar, I did want to let you know that there will be a Q&A portion at the end tonight. So please save your questions to the end, since it'll be easier to respond to the questions and be able to access them towards the end. Our reps will be available towards the end for questions as well. And I will be sending out a handout towards the end of the webinar via email to you all to give you some more support and give you information. So today, for those of you joining us, if you could please use the chat box option. Please go ahead and share with us what school you're joining us from and what college you're excited to be attending this fall. Go ahead and feel free to type it in and share with us. I see there's a few of you that are on here with us tonight. Quick little school shout out. Anybody want to share what school they're from? It's okay if you're shy. You all can see the chat box, right? Jennifer and Annette.
I can, yes.
Okay. Okay, we've got a shy group of students. That's okay. No worries. Oh, okay. We've got one student that shared. Lori, congrats. Thanks for joining us from Tesoro. That's a big, tough decision. Alexa, hi. You're going to be attending San Diego State. Congratulations. That's awesome. Great. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. I just wanted to also double check that you all are able to see and access the chat box, and it looks like you can see it. So that's great. Okay, so for today, we are going to be learning about summer melts, what it is, how to avoid it, how to make sure that you are able to make a smooth transition to college. But before we do that, I do want to introduce our guest speakers tonight, because as you can see, I'm not the only one here. So one of our guest speakers tonight joining us is Jennifer Leon. She is a financial aid advisor at UC Santa Barbara. And fun fact, she's been skydiving before, which is pretty cool. Hi, Juliana and Jackson. Thanks for joining us. We see you. Glad to have you with us. One of our other guest speakers tonight joining us is Annette Thomas. She is an admissions counselor from Grand Canyon University, and she is also going to be having a baby in 3 weeks. So if you can say hi to everyone, Annette.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you.
We are really excited for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hopefully a little bit sooner than 3 weeks, but yeah, that was my fun fact.
Awesome. And we will also be having Stephanie Hartfield join us soon, hopefully, who is the Assistant Director of Freshman Recruitment at UCLA. And she is also an avid Harry Potter fan. She is not able to join us through the webinar. We will be calling her in, so no worries. And on behalf of CUSD, I did want to thank our guest speakers for taking some time to join us tonight to share some of your insight. We all know that you're very busy people, and we just want to say thank you ahead of time. And now for the main part of the webinar. Today we will discuss what summer melt means, how it applies to you, how to avoid melting, and learn about some great tips to set yourself up for success in the fall as a college freshman. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, what is summer melt? This is a phenomenon of students who have applied to, been accepted by, and made a deposit to a college, but end up not attending that college or any other college. And as a senior, in the spring, you're close to the finish line, right? You took your ACT or SAT, you took your APs, did well in your classes, participated in extracurriculars, wrote your college essays, applied for and may have received financial aid, yet your road to college is not finished yet. Acceptance to college is a great accomplishment. However, keep in mind that there are additional to-do list items. Failure to complete these can put you at risk of experiencing summer melt, which we understand means that you don't make it to your school in the fall to be a college freshman, right? And now we want to understand, well, why do students melt? Summer melt can occur when students have a difficult time completing some of the following tasks. These tasks may include understanding and accepting financial aid offers, knowing how to read their packages, understanding college expenses, meeting deadlines to fulfill requests from the college, registering for and attending freshman orientation, which is very important, accessing or navigating their online student portals. Sometimes students forget or don't understand the importance of submitting their SIR, Statement of Intent to Enroll, which is also known as National College Decision Day, which is May 1st. So you need to start making the decisions soon and submitting that by May 1st. So start to think of these things and be aware of what some of the challenges or obstacles may be so that you can plan accordingly, get some support. These are some of the main reasons why students, quote unquote, melt. And there are definitely ways to help avoid this, right? So in order to prevent summer melt from happening to you, be sure to identify your next steps and any barriers you may have to complete everything you need to do in order to start school in the fall. So first of all, make sure, snail mail, it's a thing, right? You're probably used to getting all kinds of mail from all kinds of colleges, but once you've decided on a college, anything and everything they send to you needs to be read. Just ask the student who, I remember, he opened the letter congratulating him for being admitted, but he didn't read the next page, which told him he had a $42,000 scholarship, which is a really big deal. So make sure you read everything that they send you. If you don't understand it, make sure you ask questions. Second of all, make sure that you're checking your email. Email may be almost as old school as snail mail nowadays, right, since you all use social media, but it's still how many colleges communicate with students, especially if they need something quickly. They need a response from you soon. The only way to find out what they need is to check your email at least 3 times a week in the summer. Make sure to check your junk email folder. Some colleges send emails to thousands of students, and your email account may think it's spam. So just double check that in case you haven't received anything. Also, really cool thing. Hi, Steph. Glad you're able to join us. I don't think we can hear her. I'll reach out to her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry, everyone. My apologies.
No worries. Tech has not been in our favor recently, so it's okay. All right, so I'm glad Stephanie's here with us. We're going to hear from her shortly, but I am going to finish off this slide here on tips on how to prevent summer melt. Going back to email, again, very important that you check your email, especially in the summer. Colleges do also offer, some of them do offer text messaging where they kind of give you announcements or updates. So look into whether or not your school offers something like this. This could be another way to keep track of things as well. However, I would not encourage you for you to rely on that solely. Next up is looking for checklists. Most colleges send you a checklist with everything that you'll be expected to do. And this usually is something that needs to be completed over the summer. And it gives you timelines of when you need to complete it, who to ask questions to if you are confused. This list may come by snail mail, right? Or as a link in an email, or maybe as a text. So print it out, put it on your refrigerator. That way your parents can also help you keep track of what you need to complete. If for whatever reason your college doesn't provide a checklist for you, or you haven't received one yet, check your email after this webinar. I will send out a general checklist that provides a majority of things that we discussed today, among with a few others that you should be completing in order to complete a successful transition into college, and remembering to reach out to your schools accordingly. If at any point over the summer, if you don't know what you should be doing, if you feel like you have a question about something, I highly encourage you to please call the college. I know students aren't really crazy about talking to people on the phone, especially if they think the college will feel like you don't know what you're doing, but do it anyway, right? Once a college admits you, they will move heaven and earth for you to register, attend, and graduate. They're there to support you, and there's nothing that they haven't been asked before, so don't feel like you're the only one. In fact, colleges have student services offices because so many students have so many questions. If you don't know how to contact them, call the admissions office and they'll tell you how. And now it's easy to feel alone in this transition to college, but you have a team of family, friends, counselors who are there to help you. Even in the summer, all you have to do is ask. And especially at your schools, they have departments with people willing and ready to help you. Speaking of college support, our guest speakers are all college representatives that would like to provide you with some additional tips. So now I will be handing it over to our first guest speaker tonight, which is Jennifer Leon.
Sorry, turn on my mic. Hi, everyone. So I'm here to talk a little bit about financial aid because I know it can be a little bit confusing. So I'll just jump right in. So financial aid is funding that is available to students attending a post-secondary educational institution and is there to assist in covering the many costs in the pursuit for post-secondary education. The funding is made up of federal, state, school, and private sources. The financial aid offices will use basically their financial application, whether it be the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application. They'll utilize the expected family contribution, and that is right from the application, and is taken into account against the cost of attendance to determine the family's demonstrated financial need. Now, the cost of attendance are expenses that include room and board, books and supplies, rent, the list you see here, because these are all things that you will incur as a student going into a post-secondary institution. Some of the direct costs. So I guess to get into more of a detailed explanation, you will have direct costs and indirect costs. The difference between both of those is basically the costs that are built by the university are direct costs. These are things that you will owe to the university and will probably not change, will be the same depending whether the institution you wish to attend is a semester school or a quarter school like UCSB. Indirect costs are costs that are not billed by the university, but will be things that you will be incurring as a student, like room and board, books and supplies, personal expenses like buying detergent, buying meals if you're living off campus, and so forth. So if we look on the next slide, I do have a sample of what a estimated financial aid award letter would be for a student for first years attending UCSB. This is someone that has an expected family contribution of 0. You will see that the award letter is made up of a Cal grant, which is a state grant, a federal Pell Grant, which is a federal grant along with the federal loans at the bottom. You will also see that UCSB does offer a UCSB scholarship and UCSB health insurance grant to cover the health insurance that is assessed on the student's billing account. On the right-hand side, you will see what's the cost of attendance. So these are the line items that we display to indicate all the expenses that a student will incur while being a student. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's how much you're going to spend, but these are things that we estimate that a student will be spending on to be a student and be successful, a successful student at UCSB. To kind of differentiate the cost of attendance versus the direct costs, you'll see at the bottom under estimated yearly university charges. These are the fees that you will see on a student's billing account. So if you account for all of the fees assessed, so that includes tuition and student fees, along with housing and meals, and this is because this example is related to a student who's living on campus in the dorms, on the health insurance. If you subtract the grant, you'll see that the estimated yearly balance is $6,172, meaning that's the remaining balance that a student will have to owe to the university. And this is when a student may consider bringing in their additional scholarships if they've access to an outside agency, or maybe accessing some of the subsidized loans that are offered to them for the academic year. If your financial aid award letter does not accurately indicate that this is my family's income currently, you do have an option to do what's called a request for review. And this can be accessed when you contact your financial aid office, and they should be able to assist you and walk you through the process. But you're able to tell the financial aid office, the income reported on my FAFSA or my California Dream Act application is not accurate to what my household income is right now. The offices do have the ability to revisit the application and basically tell the application their income is not the same. So it ends up being like a reevaluation and reassessing your financial aid awarding letter based on your financial aid or your financial need. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. I guess we're waiting for the question at the end, right?
Yeah, specific financial aid questions or anything else we talked about, I think would be best answered at the end. That we would get a chance to hear everyone. But I did want to also add to that, if anyone receives a financial aid package that, again, doesn't meet, what their needs are, as Jennifer said, please reach out to your school. They're more than willing to kind of help you address the need. financial aid appeal letters. The sooner it's submitted, the better. Right, Jennifer?
Yes, correct. The sooner you do it, the better. Our institution at UCSB will start rolling out all the official award letters first. And then once we award everyone, then we'll go ahead and review all the secondary appeals to be able to accommodate you and be able to meet your first payment deadlines. And I'm sure that other institutions will work very similarly.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you. Thank you for providing this overview. Next up, we unfortunately had our representative from Saddleback not able to join us last minute. However, I still wanted to kind of go over very briefly, some of the resources that Saddleback does have for students in case anyone joining us is a senior that is going to be considering Saddleback. Just keeping aware of the resources available to you. Every campus has resources to support students, so be sure to look into your school to take advantage of them. Saddleback, for example, has an academic reading center that this can help support you if you need some more help with that. They have childcare. They also have DSPS if you have a learning disability or anything like that and need some support. Please look into that. All schools will have some form of office or support center on campus for students that require this support. So look into that as well. EOPS is also available at a majority of schools, which will help you with academic counseling. If you need support paying for your books, you do need to remain a full-time student, but they do give you that additional support, especially if you're a student who's the first in your family to attend. And they do have resources available and support for international students at Saddleback. And in addition to this, I did want to also kind of remind students to be sure to check your student portals, not just for Saddleback students, but for everyone. That way you're aware of deadlines, you're familiar with your financial aid packages if you haven't seen them or haven't received them yet. If you need any support with this, please reach out to your counselors. For students that are going to be going to Saddleback in the fall, reach out to the Saddleback counselor on your high school campus. They can kind of help you become familiar with the MySite portal. Because again, this is the way to communicate with schools as well when they have requests, register for classes. This would be the way to do it. So start becoming familiar with that. That way you're aware of what you need to work on and what your class schedule will look like. And that's all I have for Saddleback. Now I will turn it over to Stephanie, who will give us a brief overview of some of the support programs available at UCs.
All right, everyone. Good evening. Again, I apologize. I am late. I had some technical difficulties. But for anyone tuning in and watching today, my name is Stephanie Hartfield. I'm one of the assistant directors at UCLA in the undergraduate admission office, and I'm also the Orange County representative. So maybe I'll be seeing some of you in the fall, or actually you're all seniors, right? They're all seniors. So, if you have any questions along the way, once you're on campus, things like that, or just in general, I'm here as a support system. But going back to specifically with the UC support programs, I'm going to touch on some that are UCLA specific, but there are, as Jennifer mentioned, there are support programs at every one of the campuses that you'll be attending. So especially with the UCs, the sister campuses, we all have similar programs and institutes that we partake in. So I'll touch on a couple of them really quickly with just UCLA. As you are considering your UCs, or if you're going off to a UC or any college, one thing you probably do want to make sure you get a head start on, if possible, are through some summer transition programs to keep you kind of immersed in that college culture, and then once you're here in the fall, you're ready to go. So these are just like support programs during the summertime. So a couple of them that I'll touch on. The first one being our academic advancement program at UCLA, so AAP for short. You'll find very quickly colleges, and especially the UC system, we love acronyms. So AAP at UCLA stands for Academic Advancement Program. This is really this is a program that was made for students where to kind of better access, in terms of access equity, opportunity, and excellence across campus, this is the program, this is the group, and they help you with counseling, they help you with kind of that transition into college, and they help you throughout your entire 4 years here. And they do have freshman and transfer summer programs. So maybe if you are going to Saddleback and then you're transferring over to UCLA specifically, there is one for transfer students as well. But for the freshmen, for anybody who's thinking about coming over to UCLA and starting in the fall, there is an application process for academic advancement program, their freshman summer programs. So that app you'll see here on the slides, but the application did open April 13th, and it's really on a first come first serve basis, because we have a lot of students that either meet the eligibility, and so typically speaking, AAP was created to support first generation underrepresented students in areas that were particularly underrepresented areas, but that doesn't mean, so if you aren't eligible, you can still submit an application. If space allows, they will allow students into this program, but again, it will reach capacity. But basically what this is it's a summer program that's designed to help students. There are 2 programs, like I mentioned, freshman and transfer, and it's exposing you to classes, and so you're going to go through a series of like 3 courses, university courses, to get you acclimated to campus. And so that happens in the summertime. So then when you are officially a student here, you kind of already have that point of view and that experience. I listed the information. So if you are admitted into UCLA or another or a UC, they do have programs like this at other UCs. But it will be in your UC portal. So at UCLA, your My UCLA portal, it'll be under the new student tab, and you'll be able to see that tab. If you're eligible, it'll pop up. If you're not, I listed the contact information on this slide for you to register for that if possible. Another one that we have that's at UCLA is the College Summer Institute, so CSI for short, again, acronyms, but it is our College Summer Institute, where the students will be a part of a 7-week program, and it's basically 7 weeks before fall quarter starts. You'll live on campus, you'll be working with other students that are also in this program taking these courses, and it runs in the summertime, so July 29th through September 13th. We do move in, I think, on September 20 something. It's that welcome week. So it leads you right into the beginning of when you start fall quarter. This one is open to all students, whether or not you are eligible. It's as long as you're a UCLA student, and it is, there is a fee to it. So that's the thing. There is a fee to it. You can see the cost there is a bit pricey, but it's a 7-week program. And so if you're able to do that program, I would say, if one or the other, AAP's freshman summer program or Summer College Institute, these are some things that we offer to the students. So that way we make sure that you all come in prepared and get a little exposed to the UC culture. And again, you can find these programs also at other UC campuses as well. Really in your UC portal that they'll have that link for the new student tab, and you'll be able to see that in your portal there. So, and then we have some more, I think, on the next slide here. So UC support program. So again, I listed UCLA just because I'm here on campus, but I know for sure they have every one of these programs that are listed on this slide. They have available across all the UCs. And so the first one, for example, the honors program. I know there are a lot of honor students out there, so you're wanting to probably stay in an honors program or apply for it. So it varies by UC, and specifically at UCLA, it is only within the College of Letters and Science. So if you fall within that college, you can apply to it. If you're with engineering, they have honors courses, and they also have a separate program as well for their specialty school. But in general, when you hear honors program on campus at UCLA, it's with the College of Letters and Science. And the application, there is an application because there are so many students here. They have students apply, and the deadline is coming up. It's May 1st. It's the same deadline as the SIR deadline. And you find out whether or not you were admitted into this as of June 1st. But really, they have a deadline of May 1st, but honestly, they leave it open the whole summer. So if you miss this deadline, I wouldn't say not a big deal, but at the same time, they'll probably prioritize the May 1st students first, and then they'll go in if they have space available and look at the students. But it's on an ongoing basis. And so I have the link listed on the slide, but you will be applying basically every year or every quarter that you're to make sure you're eligible for this honors program. And what that comes with is like you get one-on-one counseling. You have your own counselor with the honors program. There's priority registration, things like that. You'll be assigned if you wanted to do research, like a thesis, things like that. You'll have your college counselor for the honors thesis specifically. So a lot of good perks with that, and the same is across the other UCs. There is at least one honors program at every UC. And some of them are that application basis, and I really think actually all of them are. But how competitive, it really will vary based off of each of the UCs. And then we have here on the next link here, First to Go. So these are just in general support programs. The rest of these here listed, the 3, First to Go, First Year Experience, Bruin Resource Center. These are all programs and departments on campus that are meant to service the students once you are officially on campus. So this is like once you have said yes to a UC and then you're there, and it's like, where to go to if you're having concerns, questions, things like that. So First to Go at UCLA is our first generation center. So for all the students who identify as first generation, and that can be at UCLA, we specifically say first generation, meaning your parents did not graduate from a U.S. You did not have a U.S. bachelor's degree, because sometimes students will have parents that have a degree internationally, and then they're like, oh, well, am I not considered? But for us at UCLA, we make sure we add that in there to make sure that it opens up for more students to be part of the First to Go family. Other UCs have this. We actually have a First to Go or a first generation initiative with the UC system. And so you'll see a lot of the professors, and I don't have it on today. I have a Cub Day shirt on today with my program, but we do have first gen faculty and staff that will wear their shirts to represent, they are first gen and they identify as first gen. And that is a big initiative that happened a couple of years back. So whether you're at UCLA, UC Davis, Berkeley, you'll see all these shirts in this campaign going on. And so we really encourage the first gen students to really be proud of that. And that's why we also have these centers. So there's the link for UCLA. And then First Year Experience, this is for all the first years. Basically, the title says it on its own, but this is where all like the workshops, the events, the program planning, the counselors for first year experience, so they're all going to be located in this center. It ties in really closely with First to Go, so you'll see a lot of the folks that work with First to Go also work with first year experience. That is not always the case. Like, for example, I know at UC Davis, they have a first year experience tied in with their housing and department and their residential life department. So, and it's a branch under that, versus us, we are with First to Go and First Year Experience on campus at UCLA. So if you want to Google these things, just type in First Year Experience, UC, whatever the UC is, and you'll be able to find those centers too. But I would say definitely utilize First Year Experience, because whether or not you identify as first generation, you're just alone as a freshman. These folks are here for you to make sure that your transition into college is a successful one, because the first year is very pivotal in building up your career when you're at college. And so I feel like we tend to make sure we emphasize a lot on first year experience. You'll hear about it a lot at orientation. You'll hear about it a lot at other UC orientations as well. And then last but not least, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I think someone else, Jennifer, was, that was pretty quick. So I'm trying to make sure I have good timing here. But last one is Bruin Resource Center. And this is where all of our centers, so if you identify, this is where all of our programs are housed under our student programs. Well, not all of them, but majority of them. And we have, for example, the LGBTQ Center. We have the Undocumented Center. We will have, the list goes on. Like we have the Veterans Center. Like we have a whole bunch of centers for students. Either if based off of their identity or based off of their status, things like that. And then just in general, They have computer centers in there. They'll have labs. They'll have meeting rooms and meeting spaces. And so they do have a student resource center also. Like, for example, UC Davis has their student resource center, and we call ours at UCLA Bruin Resource Center. But if you'll hear about this a lot in your orientations as well, whether or not also you go to a UC or whatever institution you go to, a CSU, a private school, I can guarantee you, I mean, and I think, Jennifer, you also touched on Saddleback's Resource Center. They have them everywhere. So I personally use this when I was a student. I used my Resource Center at my college, and it was typically to go and find a quiet space to study. And then, or if I needed to print a paper, I don't have a printer at home, so I go to the Resource Center and I just swipe my card and I print, as many papers as I needed to print. So definitely use that. And that is good for all your years at UCLA specifically for the Brain Resource Center. So yeah. And I think we're having questions at the very end, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I will give everyone an opportunity for questions at the end.
Okay, so I'll stop there. So that way we have more folks if they want to chime in. But really, again, I know it's all UCLA tailored here, but again, Googling and finding these they're at your fingertips. Usually they're on the main page of the UC's websites, and they'll have a list of resources for students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Steph. And again, I just want to encourage students that are considering schools out of state or Cal States or private schools. Again, they have services just like this. Some of them may have different names, like maybe instead of AAP or freshman summer program, they might have something called like summer bridge programs that will give you a very similar experience, access to their campus early, ability to take some classes early. So just please inform yourself of some of the things available at your campus, okay? Especially if you're not considering a UC, that's totally fine. Just be aware of what your options are so that you can take advantage of them early on. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and hear from Annette, GCU admissions counselor.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. I wanted to just piggyback on a few of things that you guys have said. First of all, understand that you are not alone in this process. I know during the summer, it's so easy to think I'm the only one stressed about going away, or I'm the only one, my screen keeps going dark, or I'm the only one who is experiencing this anxiety, or I'm stressed about finances. I can promise you across the board, I've been in admissions for almost 10 years, and I every summer talk to hundreds of families that feel that they are alone in this. With that being said, is know that you're not alone. Reach out to your friends, tell them how you feel, to your counselors, to talk through this, because ultimately we all want to make sure that you do start as a freshman, but also that you finish and graduate. I just included a little bucket list for students. You could take a picture of it. I know Jennifer will be sending out everything we went over today, so feel free to use it at your school or print it off or whatever. But I just wrote a few things that were really helpful to me. I went to school, so a little bit of background. I went to school about an hour and a half away from where I was from. I went to a small school in Napa, and I was from Sacramento. And so I was going home every weekend to do laundry, but ultimately I just wasn't. I felt like, oh, am I not making enough friends? Am I not partaking in enough activities? And I had a lot of friends there. So anyways, I think sometimes a bucket list, or sometimes something even just to give you guys ideas on how to kind of step outside of your comfort zone. People always joke around with me that I'm the girl that used to say, "Hi, I'm Annette," because I would introduce myself to everyone. And so I think it's a good way for you guys to start stepping out of your comfort zone. Understand that college isn't always what you see on TV. Some of you will hate your freshman year, and that's okay. It's not always the best experience for everyone. No matter where you go, it's definitely takes some adjustment. whether it's community college, a UC school that's in your backyard, a Cal State that, you're just commuting to, or private, whatever school it is, it's always a hard adjustment. So try to do as many things to connect with the community as much as possible. I always tell students, it's not about finding a school to go to, it's finding a school that you can be a part of. And I truly, truly believe that, and that's what's going to help students actually graduate. So anyways, I won't go through the entire freshman bucket list, but I will talk a little bit about some of them. So making new friends at Welcome Week, maybe going to a pool party or getting involved in a club. And so I think these are some really cool ideas as what are some ways for me to get involved or get out of my comfort zone. Some of you don't have that issue. Some of you are totally great at just making friends and stepping outside of your comfort zone, but some of you are a little bit more shy. And so anyways, this is a great way. A bucket list is just kind of things to do. One, I guess, point that I always want to share with people is connecting with your roommates as early as possible. If you know who your roommates are, take the time to connect with them via social media. I always say Insta-stalk them before choosing them, but and I don't actually mean like stalking them, but you guys all know what I mean. Where you're looking them up on social media, make sure they seem pretty normal. And, if you're going to be living with them, you definitely want to make sure that you guys have similar interests or understand you don't have to be best friends with your roommate. I actually lived with my best friends my junior and senior year, and it wasn't a great experience because when you live with your best friends, then you have no one to go to. No matter what, you're going to get sick of your roommates. And so understand, hey, even if my roommates and I aren't so close, as long as we mesh well together and we're a good team, we keep, respect for each other. That's what's the most important. So I would say is as soon as you can start connecting with your roommates, do so. Then you guys can plan accordingly for who's going to bring what and so forth. And I feel the faster you're able to connect with your roommates, the faster you're able to feel connected to the university, the more comfortable you'll feel starting in the fall. So next we have, let's see, can I change the slide? Okay, great. Oh, no. Just a few more items on the, just some tips is Stephanie mentioned, is it Stephanie or Steph? What do you go by?
Either. I'm good. Stephanie is fine.
Okay, good. So just a few things of like every college has Welcome Week. Go to the events that are during Welcome Week. They're specifically set up for the freshmen. Every school has Welcome Week. They all have orientation. Those are things that you don't want to avoid. Sometimes they can seem a little bit intimidating because there's a lot of people at them. But it's so important for you to learn all of that information. Other things are creating a network sooner rather than later. I know some colleges have Facebook pages or Instagram pages that you can start getting connected with. Make sure you do that. I know at GCU, we hold nurturing events. So we hold events in our different areas that students that are either looking at GCU or students that have committed to GCU can come to. So for example, we'll do like a beach event or a bowling event. So if your colleges are doing any type of event that is bringing the community together, make sure you go to those because it's just, maybe you can find someone to carpool with or, if I live in Oceanside and if I was going to UCLA, it'd be awesome to know, someone else in my area is going to UCLA. I can carpool with them on the weekends or Santa Barbara. So let's see here. I think that covers it for that slide. I did want to also touch base on the resources. So one thing is connecting with tutors as soon as possible. I'm not a good at math, so it would benefit me to go into the math center first week of school and find out, hey, what are all of the resources that are available to me? Don't wait until you're failing a class because then you're digging yourself out of a hole rather than you being, proactive on the front end and saying, hey, I'm not good at math, so I'm going to start going to workshops now. I'm going to start going to my professor's office hours so that I can make sure that I'm not getting behind. Once you get behind, that's when college gets stressful, and that's when parents become unhappy. So last point on this page is a lot of colleges offer summer courses or ways of getting connected or starting college courses before you start. So I heard about UCLA's. I know a lot of colleges do different opportunities for that. So for example, like at GCU, we offer online courses for students to take prior to them arriving to campus. We also accept like community college courses, or, a lot of schools will accept you to start taking college courses prior to you getting there. Now, some of them don't, and that's okay too. But if you do have that opportunity, even if it doesn't count towards your four-year degree, it's always good to start taking a college class just to kind of know what to expect, especially if it's at this college that you're going to be going to, so that you know what the platform looks like and you have a good idea on how to get started on that. So let's see, we can go to the next slide. Okay, here is, I wanted to talk a few seconds about the roles of parents versus students. So I've had the privilege of, my role is very unique in that I live in the territory and I work with students face-to-face that are attending GCU. And so with that being said, I see a lot of parents and students interaction. It's easy for parents to want to make sure that everything gets done perfectly and to take control of that. So as helpful as it is for parents to be a part of the conversations, it's also very important, students, or even if your mom and dad are wanting to do everything, to also tell them, hey, this is my college and I need to make sure I know how to do this. Because a lot of times what we see is students arrive to campus their first week of school and they don't even know how to log into their student portal. Like, that's an issue when your parents have your login and their phone, but you don't, because your parents have been driving the car the entire time, and now you're like, oh, I have to learn this on my own. So now, if your parents have been doing everything for you, now is the time to take initiative and to say, hey, I want to do this. Like, let's do this together. I can assure you, your parents will be so happy to relinquish some of that control. But I think it's so important for students to start taking initiative now. If you don't know your logins, if you don't know your passwords, now's the time to find a folder, write it on the inside of your folder, and be able to say, okay, this is everything I need to know to start, so that I'm not a junior trying to figure out how to select my classes. Another option is to start researching what resources are available on your specific college. So I saw some of you are going out of state, and some of you are planning on going to SLO or San Diego State. So anyways, every school has, like we mentioned 1,000 times today, different resources. And so I think it's so important for you to start taking initiative on what are some things that I can do to make myself successful. So I don't have to wait until I'm a junior to sign up for an internship. I can start making networking now as a freshman. Maybe that means taking the time to introduce yourself to the professors that you're going to have via email prior to starting class or when you get there. I think that's so important for you to take initiative of your own education. Along the same lines of parents versus students, parents, it's so important for them to understand the finances, especially if the finances are coming out of their pocket. But students, don't rely on just your parents knowing that. If you don't know the difference between a loan and a grant, then you need to take the time to go speak to someone at your high school, like, hey, I want to understand how to read my award letter better. My parents might understand this, but you need to understand it, so that if you are taking any loans out, that you know what are the terms of my loans, and so that you understand that. When I started college, it was so easy for me to just sign away because no one took the time to explain this stuff to me. So make sure parents ask the financial questions, but also students, make sure you also understand those same guidelines for your classes, for your finances, for everything to start. Let's see here. I think that's all for that one. I think that was my only slide too. So anyways, I will wait for any questions at the end as well. Motions detected at my front door, sorry. And so my bottom line is, please ask for help, regardless of where it is. I'm sure, all of us are here to help you guys. We're all here to be a resource. I always tell students, I don't get anything from students to go to GCU, so please feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns that you have, because ultimately, we all don't work in our fields because it will make us millionaires. We work in our fields because we want you guys to be successful and to get to college and to graduate from college. So please feel free to reach out. That's all.
Great. Thanks, Annette. And on that note, I do want to go ahead and open it up for any questions now. Please feel free to type in your questions in the chat box so that we can answer them. So we'll give you all a few minutes to go ahead and do so. Okay. Okay, I had a student send a private question. It says, how can I find more help with scholarships?
I can chime in on that one. A lot of the times, I highly encourage students to visit or contact your local community. A lot of the organizations around your community offer a lot of scholarships to students. There are a ton of scholarships out there. It's just a matter of you pursuing and searching for them. In the financial aid website at UCSB, we have a resource where it just kind of directs you to general pages that you can start just kind of looking into and seeing what's applicable to you to apply. And all I ever tell all students is just apply, apply, apply. The worst you can get is a no. Even if you get $200 scholarships, they all add up, and it's $1,000 that you end up receiving towards your education and your personal expenses. So with that said, I just look within your community. Even high schools sometimes offer scholarships. Just kind of research.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll also add in there is that I worked at PacSun through high school, and I was paid at that time, not to age me, but like $8 an hour. And I sat down one weekend and I filled out one scholarship. It was a Walmart scholarship, and it was for $1,000. It took me an hour, and I always explain, like, that's $1,000 in an hour, that's $8 working at PacSun. And so if you can schedule a time each week of saying, hey, every Sunday from 4 to 6, I will look for scholarships as my job. I think that's really important to find stuff. And then also is I walk through your high schools on a weekly basis, and there's so much on the walls. So I would say is sometimes you don't even have to ask. I encourage asking for sure, but sometimes you don't even have to ask, and the scholarship information is just sitting around your high schools. It's just a matter of looking for them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And there's also online scholarship search engines that you could definitely use that are free, such as capex.com and Unigo. These are great. What they do is they ask you for some information about what you're involved in, what your major is, and then from there it'll match you with scholarships that you're eligible for. So from there you can keep track of deadlines and what is required to apply to those scholarships. And I did want to also add that You can continue to look for scholarships even when you're in college. In fact, I highly encourage it. I know a lot of students are worried about covering the cost when they initially start college. It's on their mind, right? However, it's important to keep looking for scholarship opportunities because you could definitely use it towards books or getting rid of any loans that you don't want to take on in the future, gas, living expenses, anything of that nature. I remember when I was an undergrad at UCLA, I applied to, it was like UCLA Women's Faculty Scholarship. And very similar to Annette, I did it one night before going out to the movies with some friends. And I ended up winning $2,500. So you just never know. Just keep an eye out for opportunities though, because again, scholarship money can always be helpful and it's free money that you don't have to pay back. Thanks for asking that question, Caitlin. Does anyone else that's joining us have any other questions they would like to share? We do have a few more minutes left until this webinar is done. And if anybody joined us a little later, you can type your questions in the chat box to communicate with us. Okay. All right. I think that might be it for the Q&A portion, unless any student types anything in right now. As for our reps, do you have any other final thoughts for our students before we wrap up our webinar for tonight?
Is someone talking? Is anyone talking? Okay. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
One thing I think I would have maybe liked to hear as I was thinking of college and going off to college, I had said yes to a school that I had never even known existed. I actually went to UC Davis, and it was like 4.5 hours away from my hometown, and I am a first gen student. And, when I got there, it was a big culture shock. And one thing, I was very resistant, I think, to the change of everything. And so looking back now, some piece of advice I would like to give to all of you out there is that just to keep an open mind when you're going off to college. It can be very daunting. It can be intimidating. You can be like valedictorian in your high school right now, and then now all of a sudden be a 3.0, student, or 2.0 or something might happen with academics, things like that. The culture shock is real, and that is there. And so wherever you're going, I would say just make sure you are keeping an open mind and being open to jumping in and being, even if the introverts out there, like I was very shy as well when I first started, and it wasn't until my junior year where I had gone through like a series of things that had happened to me, and then I finally decided to get involved. And the last 2 years of my college experience were like the best part of college for me, and it was because I was involved. I reached out. I wasn't waiting for someone to tell me what to do. I was an advocate for myself, and I went and seeked and went and looked at these opportunities. So, and then I had a different mindset as well. I was like, it's you're here for 4 years. You want to make the best of it. And so, yeah, I would say just keep an open mind and be willing to put yourself out there.
Awesome. And then Jennifer, you wanted to add something?
To piggyback on everything that we all have said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I know, like for me, financial aid is it's very foreign. We all haven't touched upon it or experienced financial aid and having to pay for education in some way or form. If you are ever in doubt, contact the financial aid office at your institution that you're attending, and they're willing to help and walk you through the process. Even if you don't know what to ask, just call and say, what am I looking at? How do I make it work? And we're there to help and just kind of walk you through it, because we understand it's foreign, it's different. And once you do it a couple times, you'll get used to it and get to understanding what it all means and what it all is and how you can best utilize it.
Great. And we did have one question come in. I'm almost done completing my checklist, and I have paid the deposit, which means that I have accepted my admission, correct? You want to go ahead and verify that you submitted your statement of intent to register, your SIR, so that you did accept the admissions office. And I literally just did that with my finger like that. You clicked on it online when they sent you the information, or if they mailed something out to you and requested something to be returned, you do want to verify that. But as far as going through the checklist, good job. You are definitely, it sounds like you're on track with everything. Thanks for the question. With that said, if no one has any other questions, we will go ahead and wrap up this webinar. I do want to take the time once again to thank my guest speakers, Annette, Jennifer, Stephanie. I appreciate you all joining us, and I have provided your information here for students so that they can email you if they have any questions afterwards. But I do want to say thanks again for you all to share some of your time with us, and then for those of you that are tuning in, thanks again for joining us tonight. Okay, thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.